What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin Cash. Shout out to the Dragon Riders in the House of the Dragon. We are at 491 right now and looking like we want to continue to pump, man. We want to continue to go. Right now we're up 64.9% this month. It's phenomenal. We've got pretty decent volume as well. We are getting into the overbought zone. I want to go over the technical stuff in a second. I will pause the music whenever we do that. That way it's not playing the whole time, being distracting for people. But for the time being, for the intro, I just want to say thank you to every new subscriber I have. You guys, this is the third biggest month that I've had for subscriber growth since the channel's come into existence. And with 5 days and 21 hours left in the month, it's looking like, or I guess it'd be technically a little bit less than that. Probably more like 5 days and 4 hours where I'm at left in the month. I'm on track to surpass the second biggest month. So this should be the second biggest month, but we'll see. But on that note, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys would like to. I really do appreciate it every time. And let's get into this, man. Let's do some technical analysis. So I want to start off by pointing out this little tidbit here, right? We are getting into the overbought zone on the monthly. Now, last time that we did this, the way this works, for anybody that's new or not new, whatever, we'll just go over it real quick. This was a month right here. You can see down here, March. You go to the next month, April. You were in it, right? There's lines in between March and April because that's just how it connects whenever you're zoomed in like this. That's just how the lines move. But treat it like this. We were not overbought in March. We were overbought in April. And then May comes along and we were not overbought again. So we were only overbought for 1 month. And during that time, we were actually very close. We were 1 month away, not even, from the cycle highs, okay? So in comparison to what we had going on here, that might be a little nerve-wracking for a couple reasons, right? That could mean that within the next month or two we find a significant top, and that could chill us out for months or like more than that. It could happen, right? That is something that we've seen before. The only time that we've ever been overbought on the monthly, that's essentially what happened. But things are different now. Things are a lot different now than they were then, right? Bitcoin Cash versus BTC, and we'll get into that in a second. It's doing things differently than it has ever in its history, right? I'm expecting that we already are doing things differently than we ever have in Bitcoin Cash's history as well. If we look at the weekly on this move here, let's see, I think it's either the strongest or the second strongest move, right? This is technically a little bit lower than this one is. Technically, yeah, that was the strongest move that we'd ever had in Bitcoin Cash's history, backed with the highest amount of volume that we've ever had in Bitcoin Cash's history, coming off of a lull, an accumulation phase, a very solid accumulation phase near the all-time lows, but not quite there, still forming another higher low in the cycle. You guys, things feel different this cycle, okay? They feel different, and I think we're going to get different results in the form of new highs, in the form of new all-time highs. And we'll get to where I think that's going in a second. But long story short, I don't anticipate that we will only be overbought for 1 month, which would imply that we have multiple months, several months back to back of growth to go. Now, we could close this month green. We could close this month green and close it a little bit higher, get deeper into the overbought zone. We could close next month red and still be overbought, slightly red overbought, and then, we persist higher. But what this means is that really, I would assume like within the next quarter of a year, if not half of a year, we will be above this high here. To me, that's what that means. If we're overbought, a lot of people look at overbought and they assume this. They assume exactly like what this is over here. You're overbought. Oh, that means you're near the top. You're probably going to go down soon. That's not a good thing. And this one example, it was different scenario. We were well into like the cycle at this point. This was about a year, a little bit under a year. Actually, I guess technically the top was exactly a year after the Bitcoin halving itself, the BTC halving. Right now we're before the BTC halving. We're before Bitcoin Cash is halving as well. But what was I going to do? What was I? Oh, I was going to measure something. I can't remember what I was going to measure. That's okay. But long story short, oh yeah, that's what I was going to measure. From the close to the high, we grew another 64% essentially. So, I mean, if we were to grow 64% from here, assuming that we close the month here, which I don't think we will, I think we'll close it higher, but another 64%, basing it off of last times, I mean, that would take us to around these resistance points here, which that kind of makes sense, but that would be all the way up at $805, right? Assuming even if we were to do the same thing as we did last time, that would mean that by the end of next month we would grow up to $805. And I don't assume that we would see the same aftermath I definitely think that we would continue onward. But looking at $805 as a price potential up at these resistance areas, that would imply that we break through the 618. Being that we're overbought, again, back to this is what I was trying to say, I think, earlier, was that a lot of people misconstrue the idea of being overbought as being exhausted, when really that's not the point of this indicator at all. It's the RSI, it's the relative strength index. It's a tool to mark strength, right? So whenever something is strong, it makes strong moves. Whenever something's weak, it makes weak moves. It's fairly self-explanatory to a certain degree, right? But it's a bit, what's the word I'm looking for? I forget what it's like. It goes against what you would think. There's a word for that, or a phrase for that. I'm just blanking on it right now. Counterintuitive, because you would think being at the hot readings, that would mean impending doom is coming your way. But really, the hot readings are good. That's when you see the biggest moves happen, man. And that's exactly what I'm trying to allude to here, is that we have some strong movements ahead of us over the next 3 to 4 to 6 months. That's my genuine opinion. That's what I see when I see this thing poking into the overbought zone like this. You know, the 786 being all the way up here at 875, that's a 72% growth. The 886 is a 135% growth. And I think those are in the bag, man. Potentially next month, if not the month after. But going into the summer, I would anticipate that Bitcoin Cash will be worth several $1,000s, right? If not more. I do anticipate that we'd be above this this high here going into the summer, which I suppose would be what? That'd be June or later. Yeah, because we're in March now, April, May, June. Yeah, yep. It all makes sense in my opinion. I don't know. Also kind of tying in with things that we're doing differently, you know. Here we found support on the 50, literally found it. We were hugging above it, crowding above it, and then moving higher. Here we spent a lot more time below the 50 going into this move that took us into the overbought zone. This to me just feels a little bit more constructive. It looks a little bit more constructive too. Looking at the low to high here on the relative fibs, I mean, bounce off the 0.5, that's not really, I mean, that's cool. But I normally say, you know, if you bounce off the 0.5, it's not a significant level. But when you do find significance on it, you get significant moves. So that's like something that I used to say. I don't know, BCH, BTC. I say used to say because, man, sometimes you do bounce off the 0.5 and sometimes it's actually not a significant move. I've seen it enough times where I feel like that saying is kind of obsolete. But looking at the monthly on BCH, BTC, it looks very, very strong. If we go to the weekly, we can see that the 123 moving average here. Did I turn the music off? I better have turned the music off. I would feel bad if it was playing the whole time. We are actually above it with last week's close. I would love to see us stay above it this week and then further progress away from it. If we can do that, that would be phenomenal. If I throw the MA ribbon on here, MA exponential ribbon, we go to the log scale, we can see that right now, you guys, right now, right before our eyes, this ribbon is looking like it wants to flip. It's looking like it wants to flip, man. You know, something like this where we get above it and then reject down, that's not necessarily a good look, especially getting back below it. But the 1 week we actually did close below the ribbon. We went below it here, but we closed below it here. That got rejected, like immediately. So I would love to see sustained prices versus BTC up here. What that would mean is that we're going to get across. The last time, I guess technically the last time we got across, we were moving down, actually. But generally speaking with crosses, that is a bullish thing. This could have been a false cross. To be fair, in times of like stagnation, these things aren't as reliable. And it's debatable that we're being stagnant right now. Technically, we've been moving sideways for over a year, or essentially over 2 years, almost 2 years. So, you know, with this little divot in the middle and this one thing here set aside, it's been pretty boring for the most part. We've been well within this range between this low and this high. We're even still in that range right now, technically, but looking like we want to break out of it. That's the main point that I'm trying to get across here. I want to go back to the regular look. I got to just click back. There we go. There we go. From high to low, we went to our 618, pulled back to the 236, found resistance at the 618 potentially here. That's why, again, it would be very important to continue this week. I think it would be nice to not see us, I mean, if we pulled back to the 382, that's fine, but as long as we come back up this week and close above where last week was, that's really what I would like to see. We've got a nice bounce off the 50 area On the daily as well, things are looking good. Oh, I don't even know how that happened. Yeah, man. I guess I don't like that bearish reversal we had yesterday. A little bit of a bearish reversal, right? We could go lower today. I would just really like to see this week close green. That's all. That's kind of all I'm trying to get across there. Let's look at the BCH 4-hour time frame. Looking at the 4-hour, man, the 4-hour looks really good. I would think Bitcoin Cash wants to continue higher. Here we are at 488 right now, but I do think that we want to continue higher. If we were to pull back, I mean, we could pull back to about 447, 462. That is possible. But man, with the way this 4-hour looks, I don't know. I honestly don't. I wouldn't expect us to go below that low. If we go below 474. Then we're probably on to 447, probably, or around there, at least, more or less, right? We could find support at the 6.9. We do like the 6.9, so that could be as high as like 462, 463. But I'm under the impression we just want more, almost rather immediately. Like today, I would kind of expect today to close green. Above 504 would be nice. If we can close above the 886, the move up to these extensions becomes a rather immediate kind of idea. So right now it's an idea. It's a likely idea. It's very likely going to happen, especially with this break above the 618 that we have. But to say that it's going to happen like soon would be validated once we close above the 886, which is at $504. So I don't know, man. I feel like I'm running out of things to say. I feel like I'm just like on repeat from yesterday a little bit. So I'm going to end it there, you guys. I think that's all I got. If you like the video, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you guys for coming. I very much appreciate you. Oh yeah, looking at the daily here, getting into that overbought zone would be very clutch as well. That'd be very nice to see. Bouncing off of the 40, rejecting the bearish area of control, and then getting overbought immediately. That is a sign of strength in itself. And I would expect strong moves in the sense of, again, going up to the minimum expected extension, which is at $600, if not $700, potentially even the 2272. I don't think that we're going to break 1,000 right now, but like anything between $900 to $600 over the coming like month to month and a half, I think is absolutely on the table. So, let alone the next quarter of a year / half year, I think we've got dramatically higher to go. But that's all I got for you guys. If you like the video, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you for coming. I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.